Wu Fei is CEO of a company that makes the glasses. He claims he doesn't know how the government intends to use his technology.
I have no idea.
Really?
Yes.
Do you trust the government the way they're using your technology?
Sorry, I can't answer this.
In some of China's largest cities, a high-tech effort is underway to bust low-level offenders, jaywalkers.
Cameras record them going through intersections, zero in on their face, and then publicly shame them on nearby video screens.
It's all part of the Chinese government's new social credit system, where people's daily behavior is monitored and rated. I think it's a good thing, this woman said. It makes people more honest. But this social credit rating goes far beyond a traditional credit score, which is based on your finances. China's version factors in everything from jaywalking to smoking on trains to buying too many video games. If your score gets too low, you can be banned from buying plane tickets, renting a house, or getting a loan. Nearly 15 million people have already been prevented from traveling. Journalist Liu Hu is one of them. He recently tried to book a flight but was told he couldn't because he was on the list of untrustworthy people. I can't buy property. My child can't go to private school, he says. You feel like you're being controlled by the list all the time.
It can recognize more than 4,000 vehicles.
Chinese technology firms such as SenseTime are helping the government effort by developing advanced cameras that use artificial intelligence to track just about everything.
This knows every person, every bike, every car, every bus that goes through the frame.
You can tell whether it is an adult, a child, a male or female.
Police in Beijing have been wearing these glasses that can recognize faces linked to the government's national database to help boost arrests.
How advanced is this technology?
This is cutting edge.
Wu Fei is CEO of a company that makes the glasses. He claims he doesn't know how the government intends to use his technology.
I have no idea.
Really?
Yes.
Do you trust the government the way they're using your technology?
Sorry, I can't answer this.
You can't answer that.
This is outside our scope of questions.
The fear, of course, is that the government may use this social credit scoring system to punish people that it deems not sufficiently loyal to the Communist Party. And trying to clear your name or fight your score is nearly impossible because there is no real due process.
He's rich and powerful. Why shouldn't he have the authority to spy on all of us from his ivory Microsoft tower? The Daily Mail reports Microsoft's Bill Gates is backing a startup that will provide live and unfiltered high-definition footage of every inch of Earth. The startup, Earth Now, plans to launch 500 satellites to cover Earth's atmosphere in Big Brother real-time video surveillance. Sounds reasonable, right? Humanity wasn't using its privacy anyway. As Gizmodo reports, the company's goal is to make money selling its service to government and enterprise clients, and that's kind of terrifying. Sure, governments have their own individual satellite operations, but the scale of what Earth Now is promising is jaw-dropping. Who better to calm worries and work through regulatory hurdles than the world's most prolific philanthropist? He wouldn't do anything immoral with that tech.
It's the end of the semester, and students at the University of Utah are busy cramming for finals.
It's an intense week.
A new art exhibit is a welcome distraction.
That is so funny.
It's called the Cry Closet. It's all students on campus can talk about. Twitter and Facebook are going crazy.
I thought I had to come out and check it out.
Students are flooding the library just to get a glimpse.
My friend said that there was an actual crying closet. and it's here, and it's a for real crying closet.
Created by art student Nemo Miller, the closet is meant to relieve the stress of finals. A sign on the door invites students in to take a break.
Just let it all out, let yourself just get away from your studies for the next 10 minutes.
Let's get a look at what's inside the closet. Stuffed animals for comfort, lights, and of course a timer to keep track of how long you're in there for.
I think one of these should be everywhere all the time.
California is looking to pass a bill that could ban the sale of Christian books that address issues of homosexuality and transgenderism. Proceedings to pass the law are taking place quickly in the state, and the bill could pass in the California Senate as soon as late May.
They say this law, the language of this law, does not apply to books. This is the actual quote from Snopes. It says, Lowe's bill does not seek to outlaw all religious or moral instruction regarding sexuality and sexual orientation, nor would it ban the sale or possession of generic religious texts such as the Bible. Travis, is that true?
That is not true according to the bill itself. If you actually read the language of the bill, there is no specific religious exemption. And as we know, with the way that this liberal legislature in California works, if it's not specifically exempted, then it is encompassed. And they might try to say that, oh, no, it's not, but we all know exactly where that path leads. Literally, they are trying to say that certain beliefs, certain teachings are fraudulent, and that if you engage in these teachings, you are violating the law. Not only would you potentially be violating the law, any books, services, etc., that would expound those beliefs are also violating the law. And as you mentioned very clearly, the Bible is pretty clear in terms of where the Bible stands. And this could very well be the camel's nose under the tent, where they not only try to strip away our First Amendment rights, but begin to actually get faith out of our everyday lives. And that's what has everyone in the faith community across the churches in California and across this nation so concerned.
Not exactly uplifting on this Saturday, but scientists in Peru have made a major discovery, and we emphasize that this is from 550 years ago, but they have uncovered what they describe as a mass grave. Archaeologists believe it may be the largest sacrifice of children in the world, the remains of 140 children and 200 llamas.
All the sacrifices that we have found were children aged between 6 and 9 years of age, and that from 10 to 12 or 15 years of age. All have been found with their sternum cut, with the aim of possibly opening the ribcage and extracting their hearts. That was the way that the Chimu, a society that developed between the 10th and 15th centuries of our era, sacrificed these children.
In recent years, the digital video monopoly YouTube, which is part of the digital search monopoly Google, has been accused of trying to silence conservative viewpoints. PragerU and other innocuous center-right content providers have found themselves censored on YouTube. YouTube denies doing any of this on purpose. It was accidental, they say. We have no political agenda. Well, it turns out that's a lie. This show has exclusively obtained an internal YouTube memo from April of 2017, last year, that lays out in detail how YouTube censors videos. One of the reasons the extent of YouTube censorship isn't obvious to most people is because the company is smart enough not to scrub every video it wants to censor. Instead, many videos wind up in what the memo describes as limited state. Sounds like something out of Scientology. Videos in limited state are intentionally pushed down on the site, so they're harder to find. So what are the criteria for censoring videos on YouTube? Well, according to the memo, quote, controversial religious or supremacist content qualifies. So does, quote, highly controversial inflammatory content. What exactly does any of that mean? None of it is defined. It's totally subjective. YouTube makes the call and does so with maximum political intent. For example, YouTube decided it was inflammatory for PragerU to question the notion that all cops are racist. If you don't think they are, you're in trouble, according to YouTube. So PragerU's video was demonetized and effectively declared hate speech. Yet videos that suggest that, I don't know, white people are inherently evil remain on YouTube without any restrictions. That's clearly political. The memo makes it very clear where YouTube censors are coming from. It explains that the company is committed to, quote, the freedom to belong, including the resulting benefits of diversity and inclusion. Okay, sounds good. But what exactly does that mean? Again, it's entirely subjective and intentionally so. At one point, the memo declares that any, quote, demeaning language against a protected group may result in a video being removed from the site. So who are these protected groups? Well, according to YouTube, refugees are a protected group. So let's say you don't like the fact that refugees are being resettled in your neighborhood, for example. You've assumed it was your right as a citizen to disagree with government policy. Nope, not according to YouTube. They will censor your complaints about what your government is doing and call you a bigot in the process if you don't like refugee resettlement policy, for example. Well, it's not surprising that one of the trusted flaggers YouTube has deputized to censor extremist content is the Southern Poverty Law Center, which is itself, irony of ironies, an extremist group. The SPLC has a long history of inciting hatred and division for political ends. It was the SPLC that slandered the Family Research Council as, quote, a hate group, and labeled the Pulse nightclub shooting a right-wing attack, which, as you know, it was not. The SPLC is totally discredited, and anyone who spends 5 minutes reading about it comes to that conclusion. And yet YouTube trusts the Southern Poverty Law Center to censor your videos, and that tells you a lot. We contacted YouTube for a statement on all of this, and we asked whether the company had revised its policies since the memo was written last year. The company barely responded. A flack linked us to a blog post written by a Google lawyer last June in which he vowed that the company would be more aggressive in censoring videos it doesn't like. It's worth noting that almost nobody in power is fighting back against this censorship. Here you have an American company incubated in America by Americans under the protection of American law and courts, which is now working to undermine the most sacred of American rights, which is the freedom of expression. Yet the Congress, which is run, by the way, by Republicans right now, is doing precisely nothing about this. When you ask them, they mumble something unintelligible about free markets and get back to designing another tax cut for companies like YouTube. Meanwhile, the rest of us who live here, the ones who still care about free speech, are left to fend for ourselves. The big digital monopolies demand that we conform to their worldview, and they shut us down when we dissent. They have too much power. They are a threat to this country. It is time to complain while we still can.